When I was a freshman in college, the Lord called me to have a very hard conversation with my dad. It was not a conversation I wanted to have. I was intimidated at the task. I was convinced that I was not able to have this conversation. Eventually, I began to call. We played phone tag for a couple of weeks. After a lot of thinking and a real heavy heart, I decided to go home one weekend to have this conversation in person. The day I was going to leave, I came in from class to a message from my mom. So I called back, and she told me that my dad had committed suicide that morning. Obviously devastated. I didn't know what to do. I spent the next several years in a horrible depression that wound up with me being suicidal myself. I developed a very nasty drinking problem. I was angry. I was hateful. I was bitter and closed off. I was a wreck, an absolute train wreck. That was 13 years ago today. You know, there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss Dad, that I don't wish he were here. I'd love to call him. I'd love to go to a game with him, talk about life, ask for his advice. But I can't. I don't know if it gets easier to deal with, but it has certainly become different. I don't know how I would have responded at that time. If someone had said to me, hey, man, keep your chin up, because God works all things together for good to those who love him. That's what Romans 8:28 says, and I'll let Chris do the preaching, but it doesn't say that all things that happen are good. But our God is so big and so awesome that he can take those things and use them for good. And if someone had said that to me at the time, I don't know that I would have been able to comprehend that. But 13 years later, I can see it very clearly. In ministering to students and adults and friends and what seemed like random conversations at the time, God has used this in so many ways and so many different times that I can't help but be amazed.